This is the main event.
This is the main event right here. So if
This
you guys
is the
wanted
main
to start
event
a
of the
new
show.
promotion, who would your first 3 picks be? And because we are here at Dynamite Download a AEW focused podcast and platform, I'm going to stick to AEW talent only.
Yeah,
And
I
so
agree.
you guys, if you want to branch out to other platforms and all that,
Okay. I don't think so.
So I think, to be fair, you pick. I mean, you can
AEW
do whatever
only.
you want. We're gonna do AEW only, but I'm gonna do two men and one woman, just so you need to build a brand that way, in my opinion.
I agree. My mind went the same place.
So I'm going to say for my woman wrestler, Thunder Rosa, which I would build a brand around.
Okay.
Easy to root for, a champ, great for, as we've seen, on our Twitter recently, and Ryan was tagging us in some stuff. Just what she does outside of the ring,
Agreed,
is just a great ambassador.
Absolutely.
You're kind of seeing John Cena-esque stuff out of
agree.
her, and so I think that's very important to have a face like that to be out in the community. You have she's like a Brandy Rose is doing a perfect job of that. For that. So Thunder Rosa would be my first one.
Great pick.
I would also add Ricky Starks.
Wow, that is high praise, bro. Top 3.
Well, no, this is just like you're branching off.
I know. That's very impressive. Very impressive. Yeah, because he's young. He's young. You're right. That's a great pick. Wow. We know you love it. Will you give us the Ricky Starks? I love it. You got to give the people what they want.
I'll give the people what they want. So just because, it would be smart if you're a business owner or a business creator to have like an established name.
Yeah.
So I think Ricky Starks would be your perfect heel to have on there, and he's a great talker, and he looks good on camera. And so, as we saw in that little Impact promo paid for by All Elite Wrestling by Tony Khan, we saw Ricky Starks on there. And oh gosh, man, I need to think of the third. Obviously, I would love Lance Archer on there, but I think you need someone more mainstream.
Okay.
Like I agree with you, Brian. Like, yes, Cody Rhodes is perfect for that. And so
Cody is the cornerstone, man.
So I would say Cody, Ricky, and Thunder.
Okay.
Those are awesome picks, dude.
Those are all great. I mean, if you don't mind, I'll comment. I think that because everyone you named, I'm not naming one of them.
Wow.
So I respect all those picks quite a bit. I think that
respect the cut.
I think that Thunder Rosa, you nailed that. You're absolutely right. When it comes to I think that Britt's story is even a testimony to what Thunder is doing, because it is so much harder to get over as a baby face, because you have to live that. You have to live, all of us are flawed, so it's easy to be the bad guy, but to live and to shape and to be real and be a good person, and to be somebody who you want to rally behind. Thunder Rosa, you nailed that. And she would, I think that I've been so impressed by her in the ring and outside the ring. It's so if you had a daughter, who better of a role model than Thunder Rosa? Honestly, her journey, her passion, her strength. That's a great pick by you. Ricky Starks, dude, that guy oozes star power. To me, I look at him as your super charismatic television champion. I think that he
needs to be a TNT champion.
I think that he just oozes that, and that belt screams Ricky, and I think that makes a lot of sense. But my picks, I think I'm shocked that you did not name Kenny Omega. And for me, I picked Kenny because I think he's in the top 3 wrestlers in the world.
I was just kind of going against the grain of
Bro,
Wild
I'm
card.
not.
I
I'm
was
not.
trying to
I'm
be a
not.
wild
I'm
card.
telling you mine now. All right, I'm telling you
Yes.
mine.
Kenny
So
Omega.
Kenny Omega would be number one, and I think that that's for multiple reasons. The man has traveled the world. He meets and makes friendships everywhere he
Yes.
goes that
He
have
speaks
benefit.
Japanese.
He's respectful of other cultures. And as such, he becomes an ambassador. He becomes a door, just like Tony Khan is. Like when you are respectful of other people, people are willing to trust you and work with you, and that's how Dynamite Download gets interviews because we try to show respect to the performers. So I think that Kenny has done a great thing in that. As great of an in-ring performer he is also such an asset to your company if you're building it, as far as talent acquisition, as far as knowledge of the business, as far as like booking and creative and just all around wanting other talent to come want to work with Kenny Omega. Like, so he would be my number one pick. I'm not going to surprise you. Pac is my
Pac.
number. Pac's my number two pick because I could just throw Pac and Kenny Omega in the ring anytime I want and get a 5-star match. I think that Pac is legitimately every bit as good as Kenny Omega in the ring, but he just does not give a shit about social media at all and doesn't want to deal with anybody. And that's why his ceiling is maybe not as high as far as like what it means to be a star as Kenny is, but Pac is awesome. And what I learned from Maddie Rankowski's interview was be authentic, be real. And Pac is real, man. Like he is the bastard for a reason. So I would pick him. His offense blows my mind. I think the Pac is so good. So Kenny, Pac, and Britt.
North Carolina. So Kenny, Pac, and what? Britt? You said
and Britt,
Yeah.
because
Those are
I feel like Britt has shown she puts in the work. She's become such a better in-ring performer than I think anyone was willing to give her credit for. Like, dude, when you watch, like Bonds talked about it this match against Nyla, how she had to adapt to her, like to that kind of opponent. Britt, like, is so good at the little things. I like when she always catches the camera. She knows how to play to the camera, and that's so important in an era where you don't have a lot of crowds, right? Like you have to connect with the camera, and so she's very good at that. And I think that she's young, she's incredibly talented, she's very smart. You talk about ambassador like Thunder Rosa. Britt is a great role model too, right? She's a DMD. She's well spoken. She's dating Adam Cole, baby. She's living the life, dude. She's got great dogs. Like she's just like she's killing life. And I think that she's young and has a bright enough star that if you have Kenny Omega, Britt Baker, and Pac on your roster, I'll take my roster against anybody's in the whole world. That's my take.
Great picks, Mike. Great picks. I think that's an all-star roster with both of you guys. I think that'd be awesome to start. Just you have the star power, and that's great. And we're only gonna have one overlap out of all of us, which is pretty awesome.
That is wild, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
My first picks though is MJF.
I thought about him.
Yeah, young. He's not even 25 yet. He's got Chris. He's learning from Chris Jericho now. Exactly. And I think that we're in a place with him where we know how talented he is on the microphone.
True.
And he's good in the ring as well. So you have a guy who has everything you want, and he's
so young.
He's got 25 years in the business if he wants it. If he wrestles for 25 years from where he is now, he's not going to be as old as Chris Jericho yet. Yeah. That's insane.
Wow.
That's insane.
If you put it that way, man, that's hard to believe.
Yeah. So starting a business with a guy like that, he's going to be the top guy. Like I'm an Edge head. You guys know it. I got my Edge cup, right? Edge, he was my favorite wrestler growing up, right? I've always loved the heels. Mike, you know it. Sean, you know it. Like I've always loved the heels. It's always been my thing. And MJF is the best young heel I've seen in my entire time as a wrestling fan. He's on point every week.
Wow.
I don't think he's flubbed anything. He's never flubbed a line. He's never flubbed a match. He's been on point ever since I've been watching the guy. He's just great in the ring. He's a great singer too. We saw him on the Rosie O'Donnell show. He's great. He's a great singer.
Yeah.
So
love that.
So MJF's my first pick. I'm going to go with Britt as well, Mike. SPD Thunder Rosa was my second choice, but I think Britt just has the charisma. She's improved in the ring. I loved her match against Nyla. I thought it was a great match. She was able to adapt in the ring. It was just, she's like the female version of MJF for me, where she's a great heel, but she's also
I agree.
she's also a great role model because she's a different person on social, I think, and she's also a dentist, and she's like, that's insane. Like, she's got like this great practice going, and she's also a great wrestler, and she's able to be a role model, and also she's great on the mic and really good in the ring now. And I think that that's somebody you could build a division around. And when I'm thinking of building a business, I want to build a division around these people. And my last pick is Jon Moxley. And that's because John, because every week he just dominates. And his in-ring style might not be the most precise. He's not doing high-flying moves. He's not what everybody thinks of as like the best technical wrestler, but he's so good on the mic, and he's so good at telling stories.
That's
and
true.
Every match, even if he's not this technical wrestling phenom,
you're right.
He's so good at telling stories.
You're so right, dude.
And I love that about him. And he's right now one of my favorites to watch every week, because every week he dominates. And on the microphone, in the ring, he's so good. And he's involved in these storylines with these top tier stars. And you just know that he's a guy that will draw. So if I'm building a company, he's the main draw. He's my Steve Austin. He's the guy that I know is going to get me tickets.
He's so good, dude. You're
right. So you have a young guy to build around. You have a young woman wrestler to build around. And you have Moxley, who's a proven commodity in the business. And I think that would be a great trio to start a company.
Wow. We should do a poll and see who has the best roster to build a company around. That, I mean, that is all three of us have great picks. And I love that we're all different. I think that that's really says a lot about the way the AEW roster is constructed. I think, that I feel good about mine, but you guys make compelling arguments for all your character, like all your guys in this company. Like it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because like on paper, everyone will have their own opinion, but if you hear us defend your choices, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Like
who do you think's your best now in hindsight, SPD? Who do you think's your best and your worst pick?
I don't want to go down that aisle. I don't want to go down that.
All right, maybe the next time.
But I think that, like, it's easy for people to be like, okay, yes, Britt Baker because he's the face division. I completely agree. But my reasoning for Thunder is more than just in-ring stuff.
Right.
Like, it was more of a Brandy Rhodes ambassador, John Cena. And so that is someone you need for a brand regardless, Moxley has done some community stuff, but he's typically known as like the lone wolf.
Yeah.
But it's easy to build a brand around because he's so dang good and passionate. But like you have someone to serve the community like Cody and Thunder. That's a 1-2 punch to build a brand that I picked.
That's very
like
true. And Cody's got the mind. Yeah.
And even Ricky Starks, like, he's a good looking dude, but he's a bad guy, man. He's easy to hate. So yes, it's not this behemoth of Paul White or a Brian Cage or someone like that, but I think, we all have some interesting stuff for sure.
I like all three of our teams.
We all, yeah.